From yelling at referees to demanding a fan to be kicked out, Novak Djokovic has had some pretty bad trash-talking moments in his career, like when he yelled at an umpire. Well, I'm just gonna start off by saying this isn't the first time he lashed out at an umpire, and it's definitely not the last. At least, not in this video. Now, that's out of the way, let's get to what really went down. It all happened at the Italian Open. After his second round win against Taylor Fritz, it started to rain, and that's where things escalated.
Oh, it's like he has time out here at the moment. Nice deep.
And Djokovic seals it.
Novak yelled at the umpire, asking him how much more he wanted to play. And this wasn't just him asking him politely. It was kind of in a taunting manner, given the circumstances. The umpire replied by saying that he would have to check the court to see how much longer the game would go on. But this just made Novak even more angry as he yelled at the umpire again, talking about how he had asked the umpire 3 times before to check the court, but the umpire hadn't. "You're not checking anything," he shouted. After this whole situation, the game was stopped for around 3 hours, and when it was resumed, Novak was the only one who walked away victorious from the match. But why did Novak feel the need to yell and lash out the way he did? Here's what he said. There must have been a reason behind the way he acted, right? Well, there was. He explained that the conditions had been bothering him for a while, and he was finding it hard to focus on the game and give his best, because when he tossed the ball, the rain would get into his eyes, and obviously, that's hella uncomfortable. So we get it, you know? And according to him, he had asked the umpire several times to check the conditions, but his request wasn't heard as it should have been. So he ended up getting heated when it got out of hand for him. Talking to Amazon Prime, Novak talked about how this wasn't the first time that he'd had experienced such conditions, and it definitely won't be the last time. The tennis player added that he has a ton of experience dealing with such situations, and yet he still sometimes loses his temper on the court, and we ended up in such situations.
Barking at the box a little bit.
Racket has taken the brunt of its frustrations. Wow.
Well, that should give Bautista Agut a huge boost to see Djokovic respond.
Incroyable! Et regardez l'état dans lequel. Et la raquette ne plus à grand-chose. Mais que c'est bien joué de la part de Gaël.
I think he knows that this wasn't one of his proudest moments. The Serbian also said he'll walk away from this whole ordeal with some great lessons that would only help him improve in the future. So that's a good thing. It's not like he's just unapologetically mean. He knows what he did was wrong, but if you ask me, I think he had asked the umpire 3 times previously, and his request wasn't paid any attention to. I would have lost my cool too. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Novak learned some lifelong lessons here. He got into trouble with an umpire again. Okay, so in the previous one, the umpire could be blamed for what happened. But here, the umpire didn't deserve how Novak treated him. Basically, what happened was that a fan from the crowd really rubbed the world number 1 the wrong way, and Novak wanted the fan kicked out. But what did this one fan do that was enough to make Novak so angry that he asked for the fan to be kicked out? I mean, crowd members say all kinds of stuff to players when they're playing. Well, as long as these fans from the crowd aren't negatively affecting a player's game, they're good to go. But that's exactly what this one spectator was doing, and that's why they got on Novak's nerves. You see, this person had been calling out Novak throughout the game and disrupted his service motion and didn't stop even in the 4th set. Novak joked about it early in the game and didn't really pay this person much attention, but then it got out of control, and that's when Novak demanded the fan be kicked out of the audience, saying that he was really drunk and was messing with the game to the point where he couldn't ignore it anymore. Geez guys, if you're gonna go to a game to watch athletes perform, at least don't get wasted and end up like this guy. The umpire had even told the crowd to stay respectful to the players several times before, but this one fan just didn't seem to stop, even telling the umpire to shut up at one point. But what did the Serbian player say to the umpire? Nothing pretty, I'll tell you that. Novak went up to the umpire when he couldn't take it anymore and said that the guy was drunk out of his mind.
I don't think anyone serves that little slider wide forehand.
He's drunk out of his mind. From the first point, he's been provoking his entire night. You know, and what you're going to do about it. You know, and what you're going to do. Get him out of the stadium. Right.
and talked about how, from the start of the game, he had been provoking the world number one, and how he demanded more action from the umpire at this point. Novak added that he said that this guy wasn't here to watch the game or enjoy it like other people. He was only there to mess with Novak's head and mess up his performance on the tennis court. After Novak demanded the fan be kicked out, the umpire said something, but it wasn't caught on the broadcast.
Exactly what was said. No doubt about it.
I think they're getting injected.
But seeing how Novak reacted to it, I don't think it was the response that Novak was expecting from the umpire in this situation. You'd think that 2 incidents would be where the player drew a line. But no. Yep, just like I said in the start of the video, Novak has lashed out at umpires quite a few times, and he'll probably continue to do so. Looks like he needs to work on his anger management because, geez. So, this time it was at the Australian Open, and it was again caused by a fan messing with Novak's head during a game.
Couple of set points for a 2 sets to love lead.
But this time, once again, you can't really blame Novak for the way he acted. I mean, this one person from the crowd was saying some pretty messed up things. This was just 12 months after Novak's whole deportation drama, and what the fans said to him during games is sure to make anyone angry, given the context. But what did this person really say? This fan from the crowd kept yelling things like telling Rublev, Novak's opponent in the match, to send him home. Yikes.
So, because you're so popular in them, Andre, we've got another quiz for you.
Sleep, and now you make work something that never worked before.
US Open champion from 2000 to 2021.
Oh, that was luck. Boo.
Now that's something that should get you kicked out of the arena, right? Apparently, this person from the crowd said things like this several times, all aimed at Novak, but the umpire took no notice or actions, and this made Novak even angrier. I mean, that's a pretty valid response after someone says something like that to you, and the umpire chooses to not do anything, right? Novak decided he'd had enough and decided to face the umpire, asking him in a not-so-friendly tone if he could make the guy shut up or not, bringing up the fact that this person had been saying these things for a while and how the umpire wasn't reacting to any of it, as if it wasn't even happening. After the player won the first set, he talked about it again and was very professional about it. The tennis champion said that he didn't really mind if this person was supporting his opponent. That's a given. In every audience, there are going to be some people supporting one player or the other. That's not the issue here. The issue was how he was doing it and how offensive and disrespectful those things were that he kept yelling at Novak. And those were some of the worst trash-talking moments from Novak Djokovic